shroud, it's like the cloth that Jesus was buried in and left an image of him.
Well, apparently it's a lot older than they assumed when they did the first testing.
It's the most studied artifact ever.
For hundreds of years, the Shroud of Turin has been one of the biggest mysteries in history. Some believe it's a miracle. Others say it's an elaborate fake. But no one can deny it's really strange.
No one has come up with a theory of how to do that today.
Just because we don't know how it was done doesn't make it real. If you look at it with the naked eye, it's white image of the face. It's kind of like yellow. You can barely see it.
On this ancient cloth is the faint image of a man, showing details that no medieval artist could have known or recreated. Scientists have tried everything from carbon dating, chemical tests, and even high-tech imaging, but nothing gave clear answers. Now, AI sees things our eyes can't, revealing a whole new side to the shroud. What it found has left experts completely speechless, and it might change everything we thought we knew. AI meets ancient mystery. Artificial intelligence didn't just enhance the image, it decoded it. Not only did the AI uncover fine details in the cloth's structure and markings that had gone unnoticed for centuries, it also revealed a hidden layer of information embedded within the shroud's fibers, one that no human technology had ever picked up before. And once the data was processed and reconstructed, it told a story no one saw coming. This isn't just another theory about how the image was made or when the cloth was woven. This is something deeper, a breakthrough that blurs the line between science and faith, history and mystery. It could change the way we look at ancient artifacts, sacred relics, even our understanding of what's possible, a mystery that spanned centuries. The Shroud of Turin is one of the most famous and most controversial artifacts on the planet. Measuring over 14 feet long and just over 3 feet wide, it looks like an ordinary linen cloth at first glance. But upon closer inspection, the ghostly outline of a man appears, front and back, stretched across the length of the fabric. The figure shows signs of wounds that align with the biblical account of the crucifixion: pierced wrists and feet, scourge marks, and what appears to be a crown of thorns pressed into the forehead. The face is calm, yet hauntingly lifelike. First documented in the 14th century, the shroud was publicly displayed in Léré, France, and later transferred to Turin, Italy, where it remains today. Over the years, it has become a religious icon to millions, believed by many to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ himself. For others, it's a masterwork of medieval forgery, somehow created with techniques lost to time. But regardless of belief, one thing is certain: the shroud has refused to give up its secrets. Scientists have studied it using nearly every modern method imaginable: radiocarbon dating, X-ray fluorescence, ultraviolet light analysis, blood chemistry tests, and even 3D imaging. The results have been frustratingly inconclusive. In 1988, carbon dating suggested the cloth originated in the 13th or 14th century, conveniently aligning with its first known appearance in Europe. But critics argued that the sample used may have been from a later repair section, not the original linen. Others pointed to the weave pattern, which seemed unusual for medieval Europe, but more consistent with ancient Middle Eastern textiles. Then there's the image itself. It's not painted. There are no pigments or brush strokes. It's not burned, at least not in the way fire typically scorches cloth. And yet, it somehow carries three-dimensional information. When scanned and mapped using image analysis software, the depth of shading across the shroud reveals contours of a real human form, something even modern imaging experts struggle to explain. It's unlike anything found in any other artifact from any time in history. All of this has left researchers baffled. How could such a sophisticated image have appeared on a simple linen cloth centuries ago without any known tools or methods to produce it? Why has no one, even with all our modern science, been able to replicate it? With the mystery unresolved, the world turned to something new, something powerful enough to pick up what centuries of human eyes had missed. That's where artificial intelligence entered the story. AI for a change and discovery. For decades, researchers had tried every trick in the book to unlock the Shroud's secrets, but nothing quite worked. The image was too strange, too subtle, too different from anything we'd seen before. So scientists decided to turn to a new kind of tool, one that doesn't see the world the way we do. They brought in artificial intelligence, not just any AI either. This was a deep learning model built on a quantum architecture, meaning it wasn't just powerful, it could process massive amounts of complex, layered data and recognize patterns no human or traditional machine ever could. The AI was trained on everything from high-resolution scans of the Shroud to spectral imaging data and ancient textile samples. It even included inputs from forensic science, anatomical modeling, and historical religious iconography. Essentially, it was fed everything known about the cloth and everything remotely related to it. Then the AI was asked a simple question: what is hidden in the Shroud that humans haven't yet seen? At first, the system started to refine the image. It filtered noise, corrected distortions caused by time and handling, and reconstructed missing threads digitally. What emerged wasn't just a clearer picture of the man on the cloth. It was a hyper-detailed, nearly anatomical rendering of a human figure. Muscles, bone structure, injury patterns. It was far more specific than any camera or painting from the 14th century could have ever produced. But that was just the surface. As it dug deeper, the AI noticed something strange. There were irregularities in the thread density, micro-patterns in the weave that weren't random. Technology began treating the linen like a data grid, and soon detected encoded spatial signals, tiny variations that mapped out a second layer of information beneath the visible image. And this is where things took a turn no one expected. The system began reconstructing what looked like an embedded code or symbolic sequence, almost like an ancient barcode fused into the very fabric of the cloth. In this hidden layer, researchers began to see the outline of letters, numbers, and symbols, some familiar, some completely unknown. The AI interpreted them as a combination of ancient languages, possibly Aramaic, Greek, and Hebrew, layered into a multi-dimensional message. This wasn't just a visual phenomenon anymore. It had become linguistic, mathematical, and possibly even metaphysical. The Shroud, it turned out, was not just a burial cloth. It was a kind of ancient data carrier, waiting 2,000 years to be read by something smart enough to understand it. Let's break down what was actually found, because this is where things get truly unbelievable. A revelation in detail. Once the AI locked onto the pattern woven into the Shroud's fibers, it went into full decoding mode. What started as a faint grid of inconsistencies in the weave soon revealed itself to be a structured system, an intentional, encoded design. Not random, not damage, something that had been placed there on purpose. And that's when the AI began pulling together something no human eye had ever seen. A second image, hidden within the cloth, silently waiting to be revealed. The hidden layer, once digitally reconstructed, showed a kind of radiant silhouette surrounding the original body image. This secondary figure glowed faintly in the AI's visual reconstruction, like an aura or field of light. But it wasn't just artistic. Embedded within that glow were characters, actual writing, layered so subtly that even microscopic inspection had missed them before. The letters weren't printed or stained. They were encoded in thread density, fiber direction, and micro-stretch variations of the linen itself. The AI's linguistic model identified recognizable words written in a mix of ancient languages, primarily Aramaic and Koine Greek, with what appeared to be fragments of Hebrew scripture. One translated phrase stood out immediately: "I am the light, the life, the resurrection." Researchers were stunned. This wasn't metaphor or symbolism. These were words embedded into the fabric of the shroud, invisible to the naked eye, and only detectable thanks to AI's hypersensitive pattern recognition. The positioning of the message, directly over the chest area of the figure, gave it a deliberate, reverent placement. As the AI kept processing, more information emerged. Along the outer edges of the cloth, there were numeric patterns, sequences that seemed like coordinates or timestamps. These were not clear at first, but when cross-referenced with astronomical mapping data, the numbers aligned with a precise star chart from the early 1st century AD. Specifically, the date range appeared to center around April in the year 33 CE, what many scholars believe to be the likely time frame of the crucifixion. Even more puzzling, the AI detected subtle radiation signatures embedded into the image, suggesting the body had emitted a short, intense burst of energy at the time the imprint was made. This was something no human could have replicated in any known time period. The cloth appeared to record not just an image, but the energetic event of a human body, possibly at the exact moment of death or transformation. Then came the most unexpected discovery: a symbol. Just beneath the feet of the figure, the AI found a circular geometric imprint, almost like a seal. This symbol was symmetrical and bore resemblance to ancient messianic sigils used in early Christian sects, yet it had never been documented before. Within this circle were more characters, arranged in a spiral, that the AI interpreted as a hidden reference to the firstborn from the dead, another phrase associated with early descriptions of resurrection found in ancient texts. All of this added up to one conclusion: the shroud was more than a burial cloth. It was a multi-layered message, possibly designed to last through centuries of obscurity until the world was ready, technologically and culturally, to read it. The scientists who watched this unfold were speechless, not just because of what they saw, but because of how specific, intentional, and advanced the information seemed. "This is not something created by accident," one researcher was quoted as saying. "It's a message encoded on a molecular level, waiting for a reader that didn't exist until now." In effect, the shroud had functioned like a time-locked scroll, storing visual, textual, and symbolic data, far beyond the abilities of any known ancient artist or forger. And somehow, after 2,000 years, a machine finally cracked it. But with that stunning breakthrough came an even bigger question: what does it all mean? How does this discovery reshape everything we thought we knew about the shroud and about history itself? What this changes. What the AI uncovered wasn't just a clearer image or a poetic inscription. It was a direct challenge to how we've understood the Shroud of Turin, and perhaps even ancient history itself. For centuries, debates about the cloth centered around authenticity. Was it real or fake? Medieval or ancient? But now, the conversation has shifted entirely. The AI's findings suggest that the shroud contains advanced information, encoded in a way that couldn't have been produced using the tools, materials, or knowledge available during the Middle Ages, or even in most of the ancient world. If the symbols, phrases, and radiation signatures truly originate from the 1st century and were embedded into the cloth at the time the image was formed, then we're no longer just dealing with historical guesswork. We're looking at something that blends science, spirituality, and technology in a way no artifact ever has before. Historians now have to reconsider the Shroud not just as a religious relic, but as a kind of ancient data medium, one that may have been intentionally designed to endure until the age of digital decoding. Its purpose? That remains uncertain. Was it meant as proof? A message to future generations? A spiritual time capsule locked in linen? On the scientific side, the discovery also puts pressure on what we consider possible from a technological and biological standpoint. How could a human body, without any machinery, leave behind such a complex imprint? If the radiation pattern detected by the AI is accurate, we're talking about a sudden burst of energy strong enough to alter fabric at the molecular level while leaving no burn marks. That's not forgery, that's physics we don't fully understand. The decoded phrases, "I am the light," "the firstborn from the dead," and others add another layer. These aren't just decorative or symbolic. They reflect deeply spiritual ideas, embedded in literal physical space. Whether you're religious or not, there's something powerful about an artifact that bridges the metaphysical and material worlds so precisely. It makes you wonder, who left this message, and for whom? For theologians, this may be the closest thing to a fingerprint of the divine. For scientists, it's a puzzle that transcends current models of energy, imaging, and even time. And for the rest of us, it's a wake-up call. What else have we overlooked in the past, simply because we didn't have the tools to see it? Now that the implications are out in the open, the next question is, how did the world react? What did scientists, theologians, and skeptics say when they saw the evidence for themselves? What no one expected. When the results from the AI analysis were first shared with the research community, there was an eerie moment of silence. Not the usual scientific skepticism, not immediate debate, just quiet disbelief. The findings were unlike anything anyone had expected, and it took time for experts across fields to even begin wrapping their heads around what they were looking at. Some physicists were fascinated by the radiation signature. They suggested the image may have formed during an intense burst of ultraviolet light or subatomic particle release, something so brief and powerful that it altered the surface of the cloth without scorching it. A few went so far as to compare the process to a reverse X-ray, as if the body emitted a flash of energy from within. To them, the shroud might not just be a relic, but evidence of an unknown energy phenomenon. Meanwhile, linguists and biblical scholars were stunned by the phrases the AI extracted. Many of the texts echoed ancient scripture, yes, but the specific arrangement, the context, and the layering pointed to something far more intentional than a decorative inscription. These weren't random fragments. They were structured, and each phrase appeared in a meaningful location on the body. It was as if someone encoded theology into the very weave of the cloth. Theologians reacted with awe. Some saw it as confirmation of long-held beliefs, that the shroud is not just a religious symbol, but a divine artifact. Others were more cautious, warning against jumping to conclusions, but still admitted this was no ordinary discovery. Even skeptical observers, including agnostic scientists, couldn't deny the complexity of the data. One physicist put it bluntly, "Whether you believe in miracles or not, this thing behaves like a miracle." Naturally, theories started flying. Some speculated that the image was formed at the exact moment of resurrection, a concept that blends faith and science in a way no one ever expected. Others suggested that the shroud could have come into contact with some unknown form of radiation during burial, perhaps as part of a natural but extremely rare phenomenon. And then there were the big questions. If this cloth truly contains a message designed for the far future, why? Who would have known to embed it in a form only accessible through advanced machine learning? Was it meant to prove something to a generation that had stopped believing? The world was beginning to see the Shroud in a whole new light. But if this decoding is real, if the information is legitimate, what does it mean for humanity's understanding of ancient knowledge and how it was preserved? Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What does this discovery reveal about our connection to the past and the role of technology in unlocking what we once thought was lost forever? The bigger picture, from faith to future tech. The Shroud of Turin has always been a bridge between history and faith, a mysterious relic that touches on something deeply human, our desire to understand the past and connect with something greater than ourselves. Now, with the help of AI, that bridge has become wider and stronger, linking ancient spirituality with cutting-edge technology in a way no one could have imagined. This discovery shows us that ancient civilizations may have possessed knowledge far beyond what we typically give them credit for. The shroud isn't just a piece of fabric, it's a sophisticated vessel of encoded information, carefully designed to survive millennia and communicate across time. That raises fascinating questions about what else might be hidden in other relics and artifacts, just waiting for the right technology to unlock their secrets. For believers, the AI's findings offer a renewed sense of wonder and faith, a tangible connection to the spiritual messages embedded in the shroud. For scientists, it presents a thrilling challenge to understand the mechanisms behind the image formation and radiation signatures, and to explore new frontiers in materials science, quantum physics, and data encoding. The shroud's newly revealed complexity also highlights the role of AI as a transformative tool in archaeology and historical research. It's not just about faster data processing or image enhancement. AI is beginning to read between the lines, or in this case, the fibers of history itself. As technology evolves, so too does our ability to see and understand the world in ways previous generations never dreamed of. But beyond the shroud, this breakthrough forces us to rethink how knowledge is preserved and transmitted. Could other ancient artifacts carry multi-layered messages, encoded for future discovery? Might civilizations long gone have used methods we're only now starting to comprehend? The shroud could be the first of many relics to reveal hidden dimensions of history, truth, and belief. As we marvel at this incredible breakthrough, it's worth asking, what other secrets lie waiting in the shadows of history? And what will our future look like as we continue to decode the past with the tools of tomorrow? For more interesting content, subscribe to the channel for free.